I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs, bringing our week of the best burgers to a close with some seafood and an international flavor as I make my Korean shrimp burger, pan-seared shrimp patties layered with a spicy sweet mayo, and a cool, crunchy cabbage slaw tossed with kimchi. It's Friday. We did it. We made it all the way to the end of Dinner DeeAs' first ever burger week, and I wanted to finish strong with bold flavors, so I've created this Korean shrimp burger, all the flavors of juicy shrimp, but in a crispy patty. So let's get started with our shrimp burger. And what here, I've got frozen shrimp, and it's absolutely perfect to get frozen shrimp. All you want to do is you want to thaw them out. You want to make sure that they are deveined and that the tails are off, because we're going to put them through our food processor. I'm going to do it in a batch. I'm going to only put half of them inside, because what I'm looking to do with them is to make like a nice paste. I'm going to save the other half because I'm going to bring that texture of it by doing a nice little bit of a rough chop to it. So let's take half of our shrimp. And go ahead and then just blitz it. All right, let's take a look at this here. Now, as you can see, all that shrimp now has really become like a nice paste. It's all kind of come together, and it's all as one. This is perfect because this is going to form a nice base and body for everything, but I don't want just mushy shrimp. What I really, really want is to have that bite of that shrimp. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take it out. I'm going to bring it into a nice larger bowl, so you can see what I'm looking for a little bit better under the light here. Again, it's like a nice smooth paste. That's exactly what you want. Now that that's done, what I'm going to take is that remaining half of my shrimp here. And all I'm trying to do here is just give it a nice rough chop. This is going to bring back that texture, so it kind of brings the mushiness of this paste together, but bringing a little bit more of that shrimp bite that you want and that you're looking for. Now, you also want to make sure that you're always going through. Now, these were peeled and these were deveined, but sometimes one slips through, okay? So quality control every step of the way, so that way then you're never going to be eating that piece. And you can just throw that away and remove that. Now, this is up to you with your preference of how you want the texture to be. So all I'm going to just do is just do a couple slices and just taking my Santoku knife and going through it on both sides, just to get like little nuggets almost in a way, just little bits of it. That's really all I'm looking for. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, hey, I got frozen shrimp, and I might have defrosted it, and I might have put it into a bowl so it could have been defrosting a little bit easier and better. You're going to have water. Frozen shrimp is going to have a liquid that's going to help within that process. Now, we're going to cook this out, and we're going to bring some binding agents together, which should be fine for us. But what you'll see is that if it's a little bit too loose, then you can always add a little bit more breadcrumbs. Because right now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting everything together inside this big bowl. So I've got my shrimp paste, if you will. I've got my roughly chopped shrimp. Now let's go ahead and add some more ingredients inside it. I just mentioned just a second ago breadcrumbs. This is the part here where you can be able to control that level of liquid if you had some of that reserve from the freezing process of the shrimp, and it might be too liquidy. But you can control that with that breadcrumb consistency. That's going to bring it all together and help bind it with one egg, that breadcrumb there. And I'm using panko. I wanted to have a nice little bit of a crunch behind it. If you didn't want to use panko, you don't need to. We've got just a little bit of some garlic, a little ginger. And what I used for both the garlic and the ginger was a microplane to do just that. Got a little bit of some sesame oil. This is going to be really nice because it's going to bring just a little bit of heat, but nothing that's really too spicy behind it. Soy sauce, which is going to bring a nice little bit of saltiness as well as that umami. That shrimp is already going to bring such beautiful flavor. This is going to help accentuate it so much more. I'm going to wait on that one here in just a second. I'm going to show you what that is. We got a little bit of some green onions. a little bit of some mayonnaise. Also, this is going to help with that egg to really kind of bind it all together. And the last ingredient here is a little bit of gochujang. Now, what's really nice about this is a fermented red pepper that's going to have a little bit of heat. It's going to have a little bit of some tang, a little sweetness behind it as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And a little bit can go a long way. So temper it the way that you want it to be. We're going to just bring all of our ingredients together and start really mixing everything together. To grab the recipe for my Korean shrimp burger and the rest of this week's selection, head to dinnerdeals.com. Use the QR code to find us by pointing your phone at the TV, open the camera app, and when that box down in the bottom left in frame is in focus, a link to us will pop up. Okay, now you can see all of our patty coming together. Now, I don't want to just go straight in and say, oh, let's put this onto a hot pan. You don't want to do that, folks. What you want to do is you want to just take a little bit into your hand and form a nice little bit of a patty. Now, to also help kind of get this little bit of a frame of the burger mold itself, what I've got here is just a nice little plate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take a nice little bit of, almost like a softball, if you will, size, and I'm just going to put them onto a plate here. So that way then I could pop these into the fridge. About 15 minutes or so is really what you're looking for. These are going to firm up a little bit and form a nice little bit of a hockey puck. That gravity is going to help actually bring it down just a little bit from what has been kind of more of a ball-like shape. And that's absolutely fantastic. As I say, about 15 minutes is all you're going to need for these just to kind of firm up a little bit while we put these into the fridge. All right, now that these are in the fridge, they're doing their thing, let's have a good side. Now, because we're having a lot of Asian flavors happening with us right now, I want to have something that's going to bring a nice little bit of that crunch factor, but also a little bit of acid. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a nice sesame cucumber salad. Perfect for this dish, or really just the summertime. It's light, it's clean, and it's a lot of fun. Now, as you saw earlier this week, we've been playing around with the mandolin to make some beautiful French fries. You can use the mandolin again to get uniform slices for these cucumbers. So I've got this set to about 3 millimeters, about 1/8 of an inch is what I'm looking for. So I'm trying to get really nice and thin. You always want to be in control of your mandolin, as we were talking about earlier in the week. So I've got a nice safety glove on, and I've got control of my cucumber. If you at home wanted to use your guard, go right ahead and use it right from the beginning. But what you're not going to be able to do is have control. Look at how if I would try to do that. It wouldn't happen. You'd cut it in half, you'd have a smaller area to work, and you just use the guard to glide it through like so. Because I've got a nice top end, I feel like I'm safe in control in everything that I need to do. So all I'm going to do is just work it slowly across and just be gentle. The blade is super sharp, and it's going to do the work for you. And my hand and my wrist are all away with a safety glove as well, making sure that I'm protecting it at every step. You don't want to go too far. You always want to take a few off and get that slice just right. Because the mandolin is going to do all that work for you, it's going to be uniform, it's going to be perfect. And as I was saying, 3 millimeters, about 1/8 of an inch there is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to continue slicing away. Many folks are scared of the mandolin, and rightfully so. It's an absolutely sharp blade. But if you're practicing with safety and control, you can get really beautiful slices. And also knowing that accidents may happen, but don't be a hero. When you get towards the end, if you've gotten everything you need, just stop. Just stop. Don't try to force it and do something that you don't want to do. Trust me, I've been there before. Okay, that's enough slices there for our cucumber. I'm going to just transfer them into a nice bowl here. And I'm just going to hit it with just a little bit of some salt. The salt's going to help bring out some of that moisture. So I'm just going to grind this up a little bit. Give it a nice little bit of a toss so I can really work the salt in. And that's it. I'm going to let this rest for about 10 minutes. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. While this salad sits, the burgers chill, we should too. So let's take a break. When we come back, I'll show you how to get creative with kimchi ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz, where we're finishing out Burger Week with some shrimp, making a seafood patty as I share a recipe for a Korean shrimp burger. Before the break, I took the frosted shrimp, blitzed half in the food processor, and roughly chopped the other half to give it a little bit more bite and some texture. Then mixed it all with green onions, garlic, ginger, egg, mayonnaise, panko breadcrumbs, sesame seeds, soy sauce, gochujang, salt, pepper, made them into patties and put them in the fridge to firm up so they won't fall apart when we cook them. Meanwhile, I used a mandolin to thinly slice cucumber for a salad, tossing the slices with just a little salt to draw out any water. And with mine here, I actually added a little bit more, but I didn't have that much liquid come out. So sometimes you might have a little bit, sometimes you might not. If you have a lot, drain it, throw that piece away. But I'm okay with what I've got going on in here. So let's go ahead and start actually bringing some more flavor behind what's happening with just the salt inside our cucumbers. So I've got just a little bit of some sugar. I've got a little bit of some salt. And all that's going into is just a little bit of some sesame oil. We've got a little rice wine vinegar, some crushed red pepper flakes, just a little bit of some sesame seeds, and just a little bit of some green onions. I say just a little for now because I'm going to reserve it to bring it back a little bit later. I'm just going to give this a nice little bit of a quick little whisk with my small whisk. Try to say whisk 3 times. I bet you can't. Whisk, 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 whisk. All right, you just did. I just did. And all we're going to do, we're going to pour it straight over our cucumber salad here. Give it a nice little bit of a toss to bring some of those ingredients together here. Now, as I was saying earlier, if you want to use pickles, you go right ahead and use the pickles. But what I liked about doing the cucumber salad here, it stays on theme for what we have as a menu, number one. And number two, it brings a nice cooling flavor behind the cucumber. We get to celebrate the bite of the cucumber versus really the bite of a pickle. So I want to have more of that cucumber bite here. This is just going to go into the fridge until we're ready to use it again. All right. To grab the recipe for today's burger at our website, dinnerdias.com, just scan the QR code down there to find us on your phone. So we've got a patty that's being formed. We've got a nice side that's been just kind of resting in the fridge now. Let's put a little bit of some toppings to our burger here. It's not a cheeseburger. It's not lettuce and tomato. We're going to make a cabbage slaw, but we're going to use kimchi. Staying on theme with what we've got here with our Korean style inspiration here. So we've got kimchi, and it's about a 1 to a half ratio. I've got just a bag of shredded slaw mix and kimchi. And kimchi is just cabbage, but it's fermented. It's going to have a nice little bit of tang behind it. It's going to have some heat behind it. It's going to have a nice saltiness behind it. And this is a great entry point in because as I'm tempering the amount here, again, 1 to a half ratio, half to 1 full, I can be able to introduce these flavors behind it for you. I'm going to give it a quick little toss right there, just kind of mix all that together. We're going to add just a little bit of some sesame oil, a little honey, a little rice vinegar, a little salt, and some green onions. And all I'm going to just do is just toss this together. And you can start seeing that kimchi starting to really coat our slaw mix. And again, just bag slaw mix. If you want to take a whole head of cabbage, you could thinly slice it, absolutely. But here, brings out all these beautiful flavors and also the extension of what's already happening. In some kimchi mixes, you'll actually have carrots inside it. You got the carrots inside that bag as well. Let's take a little bite here. A little salt, a little tang, a little heat, but not spicy. That's going to go really, really good. This has to join our patties and the salad over in the fridge. And since it's such a long walk over there, why don't you guys just take a break? And I'm going to see you right back here in a moment when we go nuts with gochujang ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, where if it's not between buns, we're not interested because it's been our first ever burger week. And we've gone from beef to veggie to lamb to turkey, and today, seafood gets its chance to shine as I make my Korean shrimp burger. Before the break, I mixed the salted cucumber slices with rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, sugar, red pepper flakes, sesame seeds, and green onions. Then used some kimchi, Korean fermented cabbage, to make slaw with regular cabbage, plus the same ingredients as the salad: green onions, sesame oil, rice vinegar, salt, plus a little honey. That's all it takes. So we've got a lot of things happening here, but let's bring a little bit of some creaminess, a little bit of some richness behind it. You need a nice little spread for our patty, the shrimp patty to sit on. So we're gonna make a gochujang mayo. And all I'm doing here is I've got the gochujang, I've got just a little bit of some honey. We've got just a little bit of some rice vinegar. And a little mayo. And what you might be seeing is like, wow, we're using that gochujang quite a bit. We are, because at the end of the day, this is probably an adventure for many people to say, hey, I want to try some new flavors. And I hate when I see a recipe where it's like, hey, I need to get all these unique items for it, and then they just sit in the counter. You never use them ever again. They go into the pantry, and then before you know it, you're throwing it away. Here, I want you to enjoy all these great ingredients and just have fun with it. This is absolutely perfect. Let's try a little bit. It just takes mayo to another level. It's a lot of fun. That's really, really good. That's gonna be perfect to go along with our shrimp patties, which I think are ready to be pulled out of our fridge here. Now, they've been just kind of resting for about 15 minutes here. We had them just kind of firming up. And as I was saying before we put them into the fridge, is that you start off with about, kind of like a baseball, more or less like a softball. Gravity's gonna help kind of flatten them out a little bit. The refrigerator with the colder temperature is going to bring it together just a little bit. You don't wanna really kind of get it super cold because you need it to cook, but it's just gonna help get a nice little bit of a firmness behind it as well. We're gonna just take a little bit of some grapeseed oil. We're gonna pour it right in to a nice cast iron pan that's already been preheating for me. I've got this toying with about medium to about medium-high heat. We're just gonna coat that pan. I know that's good, but I just got a little bit of some smoke that just rolled right off, so that's absolutely fantastic. And all I'm gonna do here, take our patty, drop it right into our oil. And that's that. We're gonna just hit it top side with just a little bit of salt and just a little bit of pepper. And we're gonna look for this for about 4 minutes on this side here before we do our flip. To cook Korean for your next burger blowout, grab the recipe for this at dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code in the corner of the screen to find us with your phone. All right, let's go ahead and get our buns going over here. We've got a nice brioche bun here, high in butter flavor content. Gonna add just a little bit more butter behind it. Roll it around our pan here, already preheated. It's about medium here. And all I'm just trying to do is just toast these buns here to a nice golden brown to bring a little bit more crunch factor behind it. And just that little bit more flavor that this melted butter will also infuse into that bun to make for the absolute perfect vessel for our burger to sit on. One last break as I get these burgers finished up. Join me back here as we stack it all up for success ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. It's been Burger Week all week long, but all good things must come to an end. So we're closing out with Korean cooking as I make my Korean shrimp burger. So we're gonna just take our top and bottom for our burger here. We've got our gochujang mayo. And what I wanna do is I wanna hit it on the bottom, and I'm gonna hit it from the top. Give a nice little bit of a spread here so it gets into all of those bites. During the break, I also had some sliced radishes These radishes here are going to bring a nice little crunch behind it as well. And we're just going to hit that with the bottom and pop it a little bit as it forms a nice little bit of base. And you just want a few of them, so that way then you get a nice little bite inside it. From here comes the main event, our star, our shrimp burger here. That's just going to sit right on top of that radish, like so, and look at it. Absolutely beautiful. It's firmed up nicely, beautiful crust on it, and the shrimp paste with that textured shrimp really has started to come alive. I can see all of that, and I know that it's cooked because that part is now pink. That's what I want. I know that it's cooked all the way through. We're going to hit it with just a little bit of our slaw, this kimchi slaw right on top, and be generous and have as much fun. And make sure you go from that bottom because you had all that beautiful liquid there to bring that part together. It's a messy burger. Bring the bun towards you and fill that nice little cavity with our cucumber salad. Finish it with just a little bit more sesame seeds and just a little bit of some green onions right on top. And that is it. A beautiful burger, just spinning in deliciousness for you. Don't forget, grab the recipe for today's Korean shrimp burger and all the burgers I've made this week at dinnerdeas.com or scan the QR code in the bottom left of the screen to find us. And if you make any of them, send us a photo. I'm Jeff Philbin. See you next time with more ideas for dinner, as we call them, Dinner Dias.